But one thing is, you have volunteered to testify at the trial, correct?
Not as of yet. Actually, I was subpoenaed.
Okay.
So my attorneys worked something out. So I believe when the time is right, I'm going to discuss it with my attorneys.
But you're willing to?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, I am.
And we have more breaking news. A jury has finally been selected, and opening statements are getting started in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. Prosecutors are expected to paint Combs as the head of a criminal organization who exploited his fame and fortune to sexually abuse women and men.
Al B. Yes, folks. Schur has returned and is prepared to testify about everything he knows about Diddy. If there's one thing about this man, child, it's that he has never altered his story.
Yes, many, many years ago, I posted some information that was, basically trying to save my life. And thank goodness to my ex, the wonderful Kim Porter, the late Kim Porter, who, kind of warned me all along the way to, just kind of watch your back, so on and so forth. And I didn't understand why.
Because of Diddy.
Arrested in the trial will undoubtedly suffer if Al, who is reportedly one of the witnesses in the case, repeats the same things he has been saying for years. Al has also added additional details regarding the Kim Porter situation, by the way. Why don't we dive right in? You see, Kim had a relationship with Al B prior to dating Diddy. Indeed, in addition to having Quincy together, Kim acknowledged that she was the inspiration behind Al's song Forever My Lady. Al claims that they were married. He first discussed their marriage in an interview with Fox Soul, saying, "I forget it's me every time I post something. Being a grandfather, I'm worried about getting likes and numbers while also not being popular. I don't do that. However, I recently made a post discussing my ex-wife. Yes, I mentioned my ex-wife Kimberly, but no one was aware of it since we didn't talk about getting married. We didn't talk about that. I honor her every now and then. All right. The problem is that Al and Kim remained friendly after their split, and if anyone has consistently stated that Kim's death was unquestionably the result of foul play, it's Al."
Basically.
Do you believe that she died of pneumonia?
Absolutely not.
Why? What evidence do you have?
She was in the best of health. We just saw each other prior to her passing. We were actually celebrating our son's new Netflix Christmas special, and she was doing just fine. In fact, we were all at the event together at Netflix in the lobby. Sean, myself, the children, all having a great time. And I'm, grabbing Sean like, what? And she's in the back going, stop, So it was a really festive opportunity just for all of us to be together, because it's nothing like the circus that's out here. So it was a lot of the stuff, came to surprise, but a lot of the stuff will be revealed and that's why I thought it would be a good idea to finally tell my story. Every network came to me.
Him and Al never been the best of friends. He had motherfuckers think that he had adopted Quincy, and he never did. Al was never out of his son's life. I knew Al way back in Mount Vernon. You know what I mean?
Remember how Al B. Schur responded on Instagram to a screenshot of Extra's headline, "Diddy's late ex, Kim Porter, revealed his twisted secrets and alleged diary entries," as soon as Kim's purported book was made public? Al B. wrote in the caption, 2009 through 2018, y'all said Al B. Schur has lost his mind and told him to go sit down. He repeated this exact statement repeatedly on the day of KP's M, but law enforcement disregarded him when he shared what LKP told him in desperation and cautioned him to watch his back as well. You all said bad things. Someone please get Al some medical attention. He is insane. Al also implied in March 2024 that Diddy was involved in his 2022 coma, and he even claimed to be working on a documentary that would shock the world.
We are going to be producing the Al B. Schur life story. So hold on to your britches, and you'll really understand how I ended up in a coma. You're really going to need to call Homeland Security.
A lot of things happened to Kim. Corkscrew and ripped his damn arm out. Tried to rip his arm off for putting his hands on him. I know she was tired. Them pillow fights and that smothering her with the pillows and all that, like he playing with her. I know she was tired.
Yeah, he also told Rolling Stone that Diddy, he's a jealous person that don't know what love is.
He knows that, bruh. Kim couldn't have nobody, bruh. Kim couldn't have nobody. You understand what I'm saying, bruh? Diddy could do whatever, Puff could do whatever he wanted to do, Brother Love could do whoever he wanted to be. If Kim ever tried to get with somebody, Puff would interfere with them or with her trying to be with them.
However, as you are all aware, he had been raising the alarm for years. For example, Al B. sure stated in November 2021 that Kim was escaping from someone or something in the period before her death, and that he had instructed her to contact the FBI. Al B. then changed the final portion of the caption shortly after the post was uploaded, removing any reference to the FBI and replacing it with the statement that Kim was running a marathon. Al had previously written, "I just found this footage from the morning I learned of @ Lady KP's, aka #Kim Porter's death, and how it ripped the soul from my physical body, in remembrance of the moment he learned Kim had been declared dead. Kimberly didn't suddenly check out due to pneumonia, and I am well aware of that. That is some bullshit. Really? I get into trouble here. In order to show Diddy how he believes he is accountable, Al B. actually tagged Diddy in the post. He added, "We just celebrated our son at Quincy's new deal and Christmas special with @Netflix, and she was in fantastic health as well, laughing seeing me and @Diddy's mutual exchange at the theater." I'll end it here. Now he is repeating these same statements.
It's been quite a journey, and as I said, even as it relates to writing the book, I went through many, almost, more than a decade of being scrutinized and clowned by law enforcement, them telling me, you need some help. Sex trafficking, really? What's wrong with you? No way, not realizing that they were also working for the situation.
You seen how Albie Shore, he came out saying that Kim Porter death needs to be looked into?
I think that Al being his ex-wife, he have every right, knowing about the stuff that came out about Diddy and what he was doing. You understand what he has done in the past, and people have overlooked it. By him coming out and saying that he hoped that he could get her case reopened. There was a guy called John Paperwork, the Paperwork Party. They would put in an open petition to get Kim's case reopened. You understand what I'm saying? So I'll be sure doing this is showing that, he still got love for Quincy's mother. He still want to find out the truth because allegedly Kim was fine the day before and the day of her death. And then now she found in the bed dead from pneumonia. That just don't sound right, bro. That don't sound right at all.
So you feel the same way about her death being suspect?
I don't think nobody in America think it's nothing suspicious about Kim's death, bro. If you are rich like that, you could, Kim had, I think a net worth of like, 12 million a year or something like that. Kim could have called any doctor to come over and look at her. If she was that bad, she could have called an ambulance or something like that. Everything is suspicious about her death, bruh.
Accordingly, Al announced that he will be sharing his experiences and truths, including his interactions with Diddy, in his candid memoir, Do You Believe Me Now?, which will be published in the fall. Additionally, he claims that Diddy and his associates might have been complicit in the circumstances that resulted in his multi-organ failure. Then he discloses that when he first came out about Diddy, he encountered strong opposition and that there was a bounty on his head. In addition, Al B. Sure says he was subpoenaed regarding Diddy's trial and that he is willing to testify, emphasizing that he is motivated by living his truth rather than marketing or self-interest.
So do you think specifically then that Sean Diddy Combs or people affiliated with him did something to you that caused you to have multi-organ failure?
I believe this to be the case, yes. Absolutely.
Wow.
Diddy was terrified of Kim Porter's book. just like Jay-Z was afraid of Kathy White's interview. It's funny how things that they're afraid of disappear.
Who you think is next on the chopping block? Because I believe there's a chopping block, and there might be.
Oh, there is. Sean Carter. They've been stacking up and standing on.
Since we haven't been able to explain some of the details surrounding Kim's death, such as the blood that was purportedly found on her pillowcases and the faint blood trail on the bedroom floor that led to the bathroom, Al has obviously not been making things up. According to reports, Kim was actually found on the bathroom floor rather than unconscious in her bed. She was placed there on purpose if they discovered her in bed. Not to mention that the initial coroner who performed Kim's initial autopsy allegedly suspected foul play due to the quantity of a particular toxin discovered in her system. In addition, Kim was discovered the following morning at 11:00 a.m., despite the fact that her last call was reportedly placed to 911 at 2:43 a.m. Not too long ago, there were rumors that Kim's family was thinking about suing Diddy for wrongful death and seeking legal counsel because they thought they had tangible proof to back up their claims. Al therefore understands exactly what he is saying when he repeatedly expresses his suspicions about what transpired with Kim. Additionally, it has always seemed a little odd that everyone who collaborated with Diddy during Kim's lifetime has left except for Al. As you can see, Kim began her career at Uptown Records as Andre's personal assistant and was the longest-serving employee. Kim has left, Heavy D is no longer there, Andre Harrell is no longer there. Diddy and Al are the only two remaining, and Al nearly passed away. And to make matters even more dubious, Heavy D was allegedly discovered face down, and it was determined that he had died of a heart attack. It appears that Andre Harrell also passed away from a heart attack. According to reports, Kim passed away from pneumonia. In addition, it was said that Andre was working on a book at the time of his passing. Before he passed away, Heavy D was working on a book, Kim was writing a book before she passed away, and Al B. Sure was working on a documentary about his life before he went into a coma. Speaking of Kim's book, some say the real version was supposed to include information about how Kim shielded Al B. Sure from Diddy and advised him not to go to specific locations because she allegedly knew what Diddy was capable of.
Very clear in this moment, Cassie, I will advocate for you. No different than I did for Jennifer Huff. I will advocate for you. Because, see, I know something that a lot of people don't know. I know that you and Kim Porter had a sit down right before she left us.
Tell him, please, tell him.
And I know Kim had some very good advice to give you. And I believe that this is why things are happening as they're happening now. Kim was smart, wasn't she, Cassie? Kept you alive and kept you safe.
However, one version of the book allegedly surfaced but was unconfirmed. Additionally, Kim allegedly intended to disclose how Diddy mistreated, isolated, and manipulated her. How she occasionally felt pressured to comply with his wishes, how her home was allegedly wired and her phone lines were tapped, and how Diddy allegedly paid individuals to keep a close eye on her. Diddy allegedly wanted complete custody of the twins, but Kim vowed to expose him if he attempted to take them away from her. Other industry stories, such as allegations regarding the East and West Coast conflicts, Tupac and Biggie's deaths, and music rights, were allegedly also supposed to be included in the book. Additionally, rumors suggest that Kim may have disclosed information regarding Diddy's alleged relationships with other men, including those he was accused of exploiting, such as Usher. But I did say allegedly, correct?
Well, I mentioned that earlier, that he said about Stevie J. The Usher part, that's a touchy situation, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I had a certain feeling and I felt a certain way when Usher got on Shay Shay, and I don't mean to mention other people's platforms, but he got on Shay Shay and he mentioned how great and how good Puff taught him and everything. You know what I'm saying? About the business, right? I know, and people know, that was around that in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital.
You was telling me before this interview that Dallas Austin, his daughter, was at her house the day she died.
Yo, I heard that the paperclip party broke that story because it was told to them by Kim's Porter father that is in the police report. That this is in the police report that Dallas Austin's daughter, who was a friend of Kim's, left her house at 8 o'clock. That Kim had made a call, 911 call at 2:15 that morning. And I don't know what happened in the 911 call or what was said, but they said that Dallas Austin's daughter, according to Kim's father, was the woman that left her house at 8:15. So she was the last person, according to her, to see Kim alive. And that was broken by the paperclip party because they had a conversation with Kim's Porter father. That's crazy. Now, what was Kim's state? Why did, and in the report, didn't it say she had blood on the pillow and bruises or something like that? That case need to be reopened, man. The case really need to be reopened. Because if that girl was there and she said that Kim was all right, what happened from 8 to 11? And why did all Kim's stuff come up missing?
I ain't know any of that, man. I never heard of that. So when they found her, she had bruises and a lot of her stuff was missing?
Bro, it's a lot of suspect things going on. First and foremost, in our day and time, other than our house key, a woman gonna keep her phone and she got a lot of different purses, but everybody always grab their phone. Why come right till today, right now, nobody knows what Kim Porter phone is? And they know they had iPhones. Why have nobody went to the cloud and got the text messages and the things off her phone? Because everything that came in that phone is text, and you know your iPhone find my phone. Nobody tried to find the phone? You gotta realize, man, Kim's death wasn't even investigated, bro. Her death wasn't even investigated. And it should have been a proper investigation so all the family members can feel like that this is her say, that the detectives did not even view the body in the bed where she died at. That the coroner and them had already removed her, pronounced her dead, and told the detectives and them that it was no foul play. And if that is true, as I've heard it, and we read certain things on the internet about it, that case need to be reopened. We know that Kim, and it's in the this is in the documentation. Shout out to paperwork at the paperwork part. I gotta shout him out, man, because he looked in the paperwork and it said Kim received a massage for about an hour when she's supposed to have full-blown pneumonia. Who gives somebody a massage when they got pneumonia? Al ain't no fool, bro. Al is not a fool, and he's smart by getting extra security. I don't blame him at all. If I wasn't retired, I'd probably be working for him.
And those statements include descriptions of what the witness says he saw on those tapes. So I asked him about that, and he answered what he could, given the limitations imposed on him after testifying before the grand jury. Out of those 8 videos, 8 celebrities, 6 men and 2 women, how many of those 8 celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage?
2 males.
2 males. And of those 8 celebrities, how many of them were intoxicated or under the influence of drugs?
This is going to be all speculation. I just want to preface it by he wouldn't know if
Appeared
they
to be.
were. Right.
Sure.
Appeared to
Let
be.
me
Right.
rephrase it.
Based on, yes.
Understand. Out of the 8 celebrities who were recorded having intimate relations with Sean Combs, how many of them appeared to be either inebriated or intoxicated or under the influence of drugs?
All of them. All of them.
Out of those 8, how many appear to be potentially victimized? How many might have been victimizing?
I think all, to be honest, all.
Were victims
They
or
victims.
were perpetrating?
Victims.
They were all 8 were victimized.
Yeah.
Meaning
Victim.
this was happening to them and they were inebriated.
Right. Not knowing, I guess, how much proof it was in it, what they was doing.
And of those 8, how many seemed to be potentially minors?
2 to 3, possibly 3.
Burgess went on Banfield on News Nation, and he revealed that he was given 11 flash drives that contain alleged sex tapes involving Combs and celebrities. And he said, of the 8 celebrities on the tapes, those who are victims of Sean Combs, they're not perpetrators, victims, he said 2 or 3 were minors, which, as you know, is consistent with a number of allegations in the civil lawsuits that Sean Combs is currently facing. To be clear, though, Combs is currently not criminally charged with anything with respect to minors. That could change, but right now, he's just charged with trafficking, racketeering, transportation to engage in prostitution, but all with respect to adult victims. If there's a superseding indictment, he gets hit with new charges, possibly about victims, we shall see. But this is what brings me to what we're talking about right now. So, Mr. Burgess has claimed that he got these flash drives from the late girlfriend of Sean Combs, Kim Porter, who, as we know, tragically died several years back from what authorities concluded was lobar pneumonia. And that is despite the fact that there have been rumors, both online and in the media, that there is something more to her death. And that, to be clear, totally unsubstantiated. That has been debunked. We've talked about it here on Sidebar multiple times. But putting that to the side, here is the other thing with Mr. Burgess. He apparently says he owns the rights to a book that was reportedly based on the alleged memoir of Kim Porter. In fact, according to TMZ, Burgess' phone was seized by the feds, and on it was a copy of a flash drive with material that was used.
Well, there was some dirt on Al in the published book as well. Additionally, according to a passage in the book, Kim saw Diddy and Al performing an act that made her feel so uncomfortable that she had to leave the room and cross the street to China. I recall Kim saying, "It's still weird seeing you with my friend, but you're happy, so I'm happy for you guys." "Thanks, man," Sean replied. "We've shared a lot, you and I." "Word," said Al coolly. When Sean said, "We all been together sexually, but not together," the conversation took a strange and uncomfortable turn. The silence that pervaded the room startled me for a second. "What do you mean by all together?" I inquired. Sean didn't hesitate, but Al shifted uneasily. "You are aware of the fact that we occasionally invite others into our beds?" It was unbelievable to me. Hell no. This is the father of my son, Sean. Say something, Al. Al's remarks were astounding. "I'm not sure. It might get quite hot. That's how I miss you." In actuality, I still cared about Al even though I couldn't believe Sean would do this. And it might get really hot. I simply didn't want my relationship to suffer as a result. And what would happen to Quincy if things got awkward? "Are you both sure?" I asked. I had both of them in my mind. This would be awkward sex, I knew. Some genital bumping would occur. However, I could never have predicted what transpired next. Al, incidentally, denied the allegations in the purported book and even threatened to file a lawsuit. But what do you know? Let's just concentrate on his remarks regarding Kim. I am aware, though, that some people claim they don't trust Al because he consistently comes across as self-centered. Remember, Al was just posting a bunch of strange things shortly after Quincy released a statement claiming that he and his siblings were distressed by the conspiracy surrounding Kim's death. Furthermore, he stated in the caption of the purported memoir that he would be suing, and it appeared that he was more upset that his name was included in the memoir than the content itself, which was merely self-serving. Al was also publicly wondering why Quincy was still pursuing the man who touched his mother, which only made the situation worse. Although some have expressed a lack of trust in him, I am personally interested in what he will say when he takes the stand. Will he divulge additional information about Kim? Will he divulge specifics about his ordeal? I can tell it's going to be juicy, kid. Please share your thoughts about Al taking the stand in the comments section below while we wait.